Testing. Okay, I think we're hopefully live. I always like to do a quick check just to make sure. And testing. Yeah, it looks like we're good to go. All right. Welcome to another live stream. What's the plan for today? So, building off of yesterday's live stream, we built a cool project yesterday for a prompt library. Today, I want to build a Stack Overflow clone. I assume everyone here knows what Stack Overflow is. It's a question and answer site. Because that kind of structure of users submitting questions, submitting answers, I think is quite flexible. I think it can be adapted to a lot of interesting use cases. After all, it's very similar to the structure of Reddit. If you remove the multiplayer aspect of a site like Stack Overflow, you get sort of a very powerful note-taking kind of application. So I have some sort of long-term ideas, but before worrying about any long-term ideas, short-term, I just want to start with a Stack Overflow clone. And when we do that, we'll think about sort of the structure of these applications also. I think it's a good test application for thinking about the structure of these sort of modern web apps, which is you have your view, which is your UI code, you have your model, which is your database, and you have your view model, which maps between the data and the in your database and your views, and handles bidirectional interactions, loading data from the database, updating the database. And I think vibes coding, AI coding, coding with LLMs is really powerful, and it's quite easy to get really good results for the view and for the data model. But the view model is where things get hard. And so I want to think about that today and work on some sort of new approaches for dealing with that problem. So let's jump right in here. Let's not waste any more time. I'm going to try to keep this relatively short. I always want to go as fast as possible. So let's say here, please create a starter React.js application called Q&A. Trying to think of a name for the site. I can't think of anything better right now. We'll go with Q&A. I don't love this name. Questions and answers. That will have to do. Please create a starter React.js application called Questions and Answers with Tailwind, with TypeScript, and Tailwind CSS. All right, let's see how it goes. Yes, we want to run the command. Part of my vision for this site long term is I imagine a Q&A Stack Overflow styled site being a really interesting place for doing LLM benchmarking and sort of sharing the results from different LLMs. Like I'm imagining sort of a Stack Overflow, but specifically for LLMs as a pretty cool experiment to try out. So now we're doing Tailwind. Mm-hmm. So here we go. We have a new directory, tail questions and answers. Setting up Tailwind can be a little tricky sometimes. I'll update the app.tsx file to use Tailwind CSS classes and create a simple layout. Okay, very nice. Okay. We're already approaching $1 here. That's fine though. Okay. It's trying to launch the app maybe? Why does it want to use Google Chrome? It's just launching. See, there's an error with Tailwind CSS configuration. Interesting. Okay. Yikes. Okay, so this is trying to install new versions here. No, we're gonna shut this down here. Let's see, what's our status? Yikes. Close that. Okay, so we're in a broken state right now. So let's copy this error into a new task. Did that work? Yeah, looks good. Okay, so we're gonna say, I'm trying to run the app. I'm seeing the following error. Please make sure all packages, when addressing this error, please make sure all packages and dependencies are updated to their latest available versions. So it's going to update all outdated dependencies and then fix this Tailwind CSS configuration. We'll see how that goes. Yes. Okay, let's run the server and verify the changes. Yeah, well, we already have a version running from a previous. Okay, but look at that. Look at that. This makes me very happy. We did it. Excellent. Proceed while running. Oh no. Okay. Great. We got our, yeah, I don't like that it wants to run the server here. I do not want that. So let's just close this. Let's just be happy with what we got. We have a working version. And let's make our initial commits. Yeah, I don't care for having Klein try to launch the app itself. And this is called questions and answers. Is there any commits? There's an initial commit, git add -a, git commit. This would be, I don't know, Tailwind CSS, I guess. And let's keep going here. Okay, great. So yeah, as we saw before, this is where we're at right now. I think I have 2 versions running in 2 separate terminals, which is a little bit annoying. Let's clean that up. And let's move on to the next step here. So the next step is to get the UI that we want. So to do that, let's pull up the local, let's pull up the ChatGPT app here. And let's describe what we want. So please give me a YAML file that contains a detailed information architecture, a detailed outline of the information architecture for a Stack Overflow website clone. There should be, each page on the site should be considered, and each of the components on the site should be accounted for in the file. Let's give that a shot. So the formatting here is broken, interestingly. That's surprising. Why is the formatting so wrong? That's failed to copy to clipboard. Let me open in the browser. And let's see if the formatting looks better in the browser. Nope, looks the same. Weird. I'm just going to rerun that request then. Okay, actually looks a little better, but still not great. I'm going to pass this off to Claude real fast. Let's see if this helps. Trying one more time here. Yeah, this is what I wanted. I don't know why ChatGPT was struggling with this, but this is what I wanted. Great. So let's come here. We're going to actually reopen this project within the appropriate directory. Let's close this. Let's open this. Let's make a new folder. LLMs. We'll call this UI.yaml. Let's copy this in. So the pages that we have here are the home page, question detail page, ask question page, user profile page, tags page, search page. These are the questions that we have. These are the pages that we have, I mean. So let's ask Klein to implement the home page, and we'll see how that does. We'll just take it one page at a time. There's a new version here. Mermaid diagrams. Use terminal to reference terminal contents. Nice. Cool, cool. All right. Let's say, please read the contents of and implement the UI for the home page as described in that file. Let's see how that does. We have these shared components here. These are endpoints. Hope everyone's having a good night. I'm grateful y'all are joining me. Great. Install React icons. Cool. We have this new checkpoint feature for going back in time. That's really neat. So again, the plan here is to build out this UI. Should be pretty quick. It's the power of Klein. Once that's built out, we're gonna create a database with our data model that we need. And then we're gonna focus on a little bit more today, sort of the key, I think, the biggest lift. We're gonna think about strategies. We're gonna talk about strategies for addressing what is the biggest lift in these kind of problems, in these kind of projects, which is the view model, which is the logic which maps between the UI and the database. Because getting the UI and the database from an agent like Klein is pretty simple these days. But it's that setting all that mapping logic, which is a little bit tedious and a little bit fraught. And so we're going to think about how can we approach that to sort of simplify it, add some more visibility into that process, make it easier, more robust, etc. Okay, there we go. That is our homepage. Not bad for a start. I'm perfectly satisfied with that. We need a few more pages though. So what did that cost us? That only cost us 40 cents. That's great. I want to make a commit and I want to move on to the next page. Next. So we're going to say pretty similar request here. It's a new task, and except instead of the home page, we're going to do, what are we going to do? Question detail page. Okay. Please read the content of UI.yaml and implement the question detail page exactly as described in that outline. Also, please make sure that links on the home page redirect the user to the, let's say that, sure that question to the question details page. Let's give that a shot. So I'm choosing to take this one page at a time. Yesterday, if you recall, I did all the pages at once. All the pages at once could work. I believe it's a little more expensive to work with such a long context like that. But in reality, it's probably not a big difference, to tell the truth. Probably either way is fine. And there shouldn't be much of a difference in terms of expense or in the time it takes. If anyone here has tested Grok 3, do let me know. I'm curious to benchmark it against other LLMs. Now that the question detail component is created, I'll update app.tsx to include routing. That's good. Okay. That was necessary changes. Now we're installing for the pros classes. Interesting. Okay, task complete. Let's see if that worked. Come here, refresh the page. Oh, this is a question. Yes, this is a question with an answer. Okay, yeah. So this is the home page now. And if I click on this link, I go to question 1, question 2, or question 3. And we have the question here. Great, with answers. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Let's keep going. Whoops. That's 2 pages down. We don't necessarily, we don't want to do all the pages. Whoopsies. The next page is the ask question page. I think we should add that one, and then we'll stop. So we want to do the same prompt except for ask question. Let's see if we could do that. Implement the, also want to make a commit. Okay, we don't need this part. Exactly as described in that outline. Make sure that the ask question button, on the home page redirects links to the Ask Question page. Okay, let's give that a shot. Once this is done, we'll focus on setting up the data model, which shouldn't be too complicated for our purposes. And then we can think about what to me is the more interesting problem here. We can try some experimentation around the view model to make that work easier for us. Okay. Let's see how it did. So yeah, we need to check the ask question, and it gives us this. That's really nice. Okay. So we're in a good spot. Okay, now we're ready to talk about our data, our model side of things. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's make a commit. Okay. So if we look at our UI.yaml here, we want these API endpoints, and we want a database. So let's try let's say as follows. Please provide a YAML file with a detailed database schema for this website. I am using SQLite. Okay. With that schema file, we can ask Klein to implement this database for us. You know, I mean, philosophically, what we're doing is not really ideal, right? Because we're building out the complete clone from the start, which is pretty atypical for a project like this. You know, like we're setting up a database with badges. Usually, you wouldn't add a badges table until you have a working prototype without the badges table. You know, we can talk more about that later, but let's not worry about that now. Let's keep moving forward here. Let's call this database.yaml, and that's a really big file, but let's do it. Klein, please create SQLite database. Set up a local SQLite database, and implement the schema described in database.yaml. That should be all we need. What a script. Setup.ts. Very cool. Okay. Yes, install the package, please. Cannot import statement. The database has been created successfully. Let's verify the database file exists. Okay. Cool. All right, that's good. Now, the next thing we're going to need is a page where we can see all the database tables and all the data in our database and modify and edit. So far that was not a functional change to our app. I would love to get this Stack Overflow link to redirect to the home page. H1. So let's do that real quick. Please add an href tag to the Stack Overflow H1 element on the page nav bar so that it always redirects to the home page when clicked. That will be a nice quality of life improvement. Gets wrapped in an anchor tag with an href. So let's see if that worked. I don't know. Yeah, didn't make commit. So here it is. Here's the change. So yeah, href. That looks promising. It's in the header. That looks like it should work. Do I need to restart anything? Oh yeah, it's working. Okay, great. Now it's working after a restart. Beautiful. That's helpful. So let's make a commit here. The majority of this commit was a database. So this is a git add data model, let's say SQLite. Now we need a page where we can see the contents of our database. So please create a, let's say, data root that displays tables for all the databases in our let's say a data page that displays with tables that display all the rows in all our databases in this app, in this project. Let's see how that goes. So then we can have visibility. So once we have visibility, the next piece will be making sure that our UI correctly updates the data in our database and the UI queries the data in the database correctly. It should be adding API routes. I hope it is. Thought we already installed Better SQLite. No? Okay. I'm going to step out for 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm back, and it says it's done. Now there's a data link in the header navigation, apparently. Let's see if it worked. We have to rerun it. That's fine. Let's open a new tab here. Nope. How do I run it? npm start. Sure thing. So we have issues here. So let's report our issues. Okay. The errors indicate that Webpack is having trouble with Node.js's core modules. Likely a create React app project, which means it's internal Webpack configuration. Interesting. Huh. We're creating a new backend. New backend directory. Wow. Surprised we need that, but okay. That's fine. Let's see how that does. Okay, we're getting all these endpoints now. Maybe that was a missing piece until now. A backend where we can write these endpoints, but now we have them. Okay, starting the backend server. Okay, so now we have Cool. Some errors. Okay, this is a big lift. Yep, 20 requests. Please proceed. Okay. Okay, I think we're going to start again. I think this has gone on long enough. Let's not proceed while running. Let's see what we did here. We have a backend directory and another backend directory. Cat readme. Is there readme here? No. Is it npm start? Localhost 3001. Okay. Let's come here. Okay. If I go to /data, node tables node table data received. Okay. So what's the correct prompt here? So basically, I assume the issue is the front end needs to know the endpoint for the data, which is right here. This is in source API URL. So this API URL is being fetched over here. It's right there. Good. And it's not getting anything. So if we go to backend source database index, I assume this would be the API endpoints. Come on, no, it doesn't work anymore. That's annoying. API. Yeah, right here, tables. So we're probably getting here. Okay, so are we seeing an error? We're not seeing an error on the back end. But I'm seeing no table data is received. Okay, maybe it's... Let's just pass this error on to Klein and see what Klein thinks about it. Let's see what Klein thinks about this. When I navigate to... I see the message. Why? Yeah, one of the things we could be doing is just actually making that GET request ourselves. Oh, interesting. So it killed the backend process, I think. It's fixing this URL here. That could have been the issue, for sure. Okay. The backend is up and running again. We come here. No table data received. Where's the network request tables? This guy is returning empty. Okay. Interesting. So what's Cline doing here? It's running this command to curl the table API endpoint. And then it checks SQLite to see if there are tables. And it noticed that the backend server is running, but not responding to the API request. SQLite database exists, but seems empty. It says the setup script hasn't been run. Okay. Is that true? Could be true. Okay. Okay, continue. It's running the curl request. What's the command output? Still empty. Great. Okay, fine. We're satisfied. Great, great, great. So we need to put data into our tables. Beautiful. Please seed all our database tables with sample data. So we're getting a seed.ts file. Looks good to me. Okay. Oh, I did a little bit early. Okay. Says the database seeded successfully. See if that's true. Not seeing any data yet. Okay, it says that the data is there. If I go to tables, we're still getting empty data. Okay. Let's definitely make the commit though. I have no problem making commit. Are we clean? No, we're not clean. Cool. Why are my node modules? Oh, I'm missing a git ignore. Ooh, that's painful. That is painful. Let's undo that. Git reset soft. Git reset -- soft head. Yeah, please add please modify .gitignore to ignore to account for files in the backend folder that need to be ignored as well. Okay. Now we have, okay, let's see if that worked. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Okay. Cool. Now we need to make sure, we need to ask why we're not seeing any data. Let's say copy curl. When I run, no, curl I get the response. The database tables should have already been seeded with data. Let me check the database seeding code. The seeding code looks correct. Let me check the database seed setup code. I've identified the issue. There are a few problems. The database paths are inconsistent. Okay. That's good. Okay, now that I've updated all the database related files, I need to delete the existing database file. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Restarting the back end, that looks like that worked just fine. So now we just need to test, I think. While that's running. Oh yeah, well it sees, oh yeah, it ran the curl, it got data. Great. Great, great, great. Almost great. So, okay. The tables are empty. The seeding didn't complete. Okay, but at least we're getting the tables back. That's nice progress. That's really nice progress here. Okay. I need to update index.ts to use the async database initialization and handle the database operations properly. Okay. The server is running successfully on one terminal. Let's test if the database initialization and seeding worked. Let's do it. The tables are created. Still nothing for me. Tables are still empty. The seeding might not be happening. Okay. Let's proceed while running. Ooh, this is an expensive task here. If this doesn't work, it will probably make sense to start over a new task. See how it goes. Yeah. Nope. 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 Still not seated. So I think we have to start a new task. Okay. Let's new task here. Okay. So let's say running. Oops. No errors. Okay. Running c.ts. Is that the right one? What's c.js? Why is there two of them? I guess that's just the compiled TypeScript. Yeah, must be. Okay. Running c.ts is not actually seeding the local database. Please investigate this issue and seed the database. Okay. I see the issue. The database is only seeded when it doesn't exist. Okay. Well, hopefully that's the solution we need. It says error seeding the database. Seed database is not a function. Okay. Okay. Try again to run the seed. Okay, that looks promising. We're seeing success in the console. Oh, there we go. Look at that data. Okay. Great. Finally. Took a while, but we did it. We have data in our database now. Very lovely. So we have users and badges and tags and questions. Great. Are there answers? And answers. Amazing. Beautiful. Okay. So we have the two pillars in place. We have a front end and we have a path to sort of improve the front end as necessary, and we have a back end. And we have a path to improve the back end as necessary. This wiring step is a tricky piece. That's very interesting. So what I could do is I could tell Klein, modify the homepage to query the questions database and render those. I think that could be a good starting point. And then for the answers, that's a good starting point. Let's make a commit here. Okay. That would be a good starting point. Let's look at the homepage. Question feed. Mock questions are from here. Okay, so what we're going to do is as follows. We're going to say, find all the instances of mock data in the front-end application, and in each instance, replace the mock data with its corresponding API call to load real data from the backend database. Okay, So we're going to try to one-shot this. So instead of mock data, we want to query our database and get real data. I found the API client setup in data.tsx. Now I can create a shared API client setup to reuse the API URL and fetch logic. That's good. Update question feed to fetch real data. Update question detail for any mock data. Right, check question detail for any mock data. Great. Looks promising. So once we're querying the correct data, the next step will be writing the correct data. But it feels like we're pretty close to having a working version of this app. We shall see. It's been an hour and 7 minutes that I've been streaming. So I'm pretty pleased with what we've done in an hour. Definitely some powerful stuff here on display. Now that I fixed the API client, I'll update question detail to use the real data instead of mock data. That's good. Let me check if there are any other components that might contain mock data. I'll check ask question since it's the last component that might have mock data. I see that ask question has a to-do comment for implementing question submission. Great, I'll update it to use the API to submit new questions. So that's nice. It's interesting to see how forward and forthcoming client is. So it's implementing create question, which would be to post new questions to the database. That's exciting. And it's searching for mock dummy fake test data. Nice. I love that. It's very so human, right? That's what I would do. Confirm there are no other instances of mock data. Huge. All right. Really cool. That was exactly $1. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions corresponding to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. The last one is React hooks versus components. And if I click it, I get this, React hooks versus components. What are the main differences between React hooks and class components? Amazing. So we're getting there. So another approach you might consider on question number, another approach you might consider. Yeah, author ID. And then where's that comment coming from? This helped me solve my problem. Thanks. Yeah, nice. Perfect. Beautiful. So now we need to test writing. So we're trying to add a new question here. And the question could be, You know, whatever. What is the circumference of the Earth? Testing, 1, 2, 3. I doubt this is gonna work, right? Yeah, not yet. That's okay. Tags, test, nice. Geology, okay. Post your question. Question not found. Interesting. So that's gonna be our next step. So why didn't it post? Or did it post? That will be our next investigation. Okay. So what was the error? Test. Test. Console. Network. Post your question. It doesn't do anything. Oh, one tag is required. Sure. I feel like it's not posting the question. Because these aren't posts. These are gets. Okay. Okay, well, that's fine. We actually didn't ask it. We didn't ask client to do this yet. I just thought maybe it did. Let's look at the code real quick. Post your question. Let's also make sure there's nothing else to commit. Let's just double check that. Did we? Yeah, git add. Query db data. Okay. Post your question here. Submit button. I think it's not wired up to do it. It must be wired up to submit. Handle submit. Oh God, that button doesn't work. Handle submit is right there on the form. Yep. Validation, create the question, and navigate. There's no post as far as I can tell. So what we do here is we can say Klein to do post this question to the database. That's the missing feature. And I have a custom instruction in Klein that says when there's no instruction to search for Klein to do. Hopefully we'll find it. I found a to do and ask question that needs to implement posting a question to the database. Let's see if that works. I see the database is using, okay. So it needs to add a post endpoint for creating questions in the backend. Great. Handle tag creation association, good. So this will allow us to post questions. We should be able to post answers also. Similarly. And then, I mean, we will have closed the loop. A working prototype for a Stack Overflow clone. Let's see what that did. Let's come here, ask a question. Let's go what, I don't know, test 1. We don't have patience to do a full question here. Test 2 and test. Post my question. There it is. Perfect. Perfect. Now we should be able to write an answer also. So this is an answer. Post your answer. Doesn't work yet. So let's do a new task. Please implement the post your answer button on the question page so that it posts the user's answer to the database. Okay, a new post endpoint for answers. I didn't make a commit last time. That's okay. Create answer input. Update question detail component to add state for the answer text. Okay. There you go. It says it's done. Let's test it out. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Post your answer. We got an error. Internal server error. What was the response? Yeah. So where is the running backend? Is it just dead? No. Huh. Interesting. So let's just, we're going to reproduce the error. We have a bunch of running terminals here. We're going to just get a clean slate. We're going to run the error again, and we'll pass the error decline. And I'm confident it should be very easy to fix. Looks like some sort of interesting type error. It's an npm dev. Okay. The backend is running. We're going to need a new task. Let's make a commit here just to be safe. Post new questions. Okay. Now the backend is running. The front end should be good. Yeah, it looks right. Good. We should implement voting also. But the question is, what happens when I try to write an answer? We get an error. When I try to submit an answer to a question on the questions page, I get 500 response and the following error on the backend. So it says SQLite data binding in the backend. 72, on line 72, the error suggests we're trying to bind an unsupported data type. Right? So it looks like a data type for the date. Classic database bug. Let's see if that fixes it. There it is. There it is. The loop is closed. Another test response. The loop is closed. Okay, great. So let's take stock. I mean, next steps, we can imagine voting, but really the next steps that are interesting here is actually user authentication. A user's table. For that kind of thing, though, you probably want to use a tool, a backend service like Firebase or Auth0. So that'd be an interesting project. The the area of inquiry that I was most interested in today was the techniques around wiring up the front end to the data model. This experiment went pretty smooth, but you can imagine more complex interactions. For example, our tag interactions might be a little more complex. So the next step for me is to really think deeply about ways in which we can optimize this process. So I'm going to wrap up the stream for now. It's been 1 hour, 20 minutes. I think this was a very fruitful experiment from my perspective, and I want to continue to work with this project and think deeply about the techniques. If you stopped by today, thank you so much. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's anything you want in particular you'd like to see in the future. And I'll be back